Okay, so here's our first example. Now, I kept stressing the letters and the labeling because it will save a lot of worksheet space and test space if we don't have to draw the picture every time for you. So most of your questions will be like this, a simple statement. Solve triangle ABC, given that angle A equals 38 degrees, angle B equals 46, and C equals 9. Okay, so to me the picture helps, so I would draw a picture. I'm lucky because I've pre-drawn these, and I'm just going to make it an acute triangle, even though it's actually an obtuse triangle, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, so first of all, I have A, B, and C. Let me wait, I didn't want that. Grouping, ungroup it. Okay, I shall go ahead and keep the labels that are there. Oops. Well, you know what? I'll do this. I'll keep these guys here. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to change its color. I'm going to make it green to indicate that we need to find those. Oh, we got to ungroup one more time. I think I'm going to have to ungroup one more time. Might have been quicker just to draw my own triangle. Okay, there we go. So all these green ones we are going to need to find. Okay, and we'll leave the other ones black. Those ones were given. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write in my values. Angle A is 38 degrees. Now some of you experts might look at that angle and say, there's no way that's 38 degrees. That's okay, it doesn't have to be to scale. Angle B, 46 degrees. Side C equals 9 units, whatever the units are. Okay, now, remember, law of sines was basically A over sine A equals side B over sine B, or equals C over sine C. So we need a side and its opposite angle. Okay, we're looking for side A, so I can't use that to set something up. I'm looking for side B, can't use that. I'm also looking for angle C. So it seems like I can't use the law yet, but you need to remember the sum of these three angles has to add up to 180. So although we're not directly given C, whenever you're given two angles in the triangle, you automatically know the third angle. You just have to calculate it. So measure of angle C has to equal 180 minus, okay, and I'm going to write it this way, 38 degrees, 180 degrees, plus 46 degrees. Okay, or some people prefer just to go 180 minus 38 minus 46, which is distributing the negative. Either way is fine. I mean, hopefully you can even figure this out in your head. Okay, so 180 minus 30 is 150, minus 8 more is 142, minus 40 more is 102, minus 6 more, 96 degrees. Didn't even need my calculator. So even though it's not drawn that way, I know angle C is 96 degrees. Let me erase that 180 in the middle. Now, if you write neatly and draw your triangle big enough, I don't mind you putting your answers in the triangle. I'd prefer, though, a nice little box on the side, okay, showing me the answers a little easier to find. Okay, but sometimes some people are really neat and can do the triangle nicely, so that's okay too. Okay, now notice I have that ratio angle C, side C, so I can figure out either A or B. It is your choice. I am going to choose to go alphabetical and find side A. Since I'm looking for a side, again, I prefer this format versus the reciprocals. Okay, so I'm going to say A over sine 38 degrees equals C. So notice this formula, which is C is actually 9. I wrote that ugly. Let me erase and do it again. Sides, if you put the sides on top on one ratio or on one fraction ratio, then you got to put the side on top on the other. Angles on the bottom. Otherwise, if you're putting angles on top, then they both have to have sine of the angle on top. Okay, now make sure your 9s don't look like A's. Okay, go ahead and solve for A. Well, I get A exactly equal to 9 times sine 38 degrees over sine of 96 degrees. That is an exact answer. We just need a calculator to find an approximate answer. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since I wrote this so beautifully, I'm going to clone this bad boy, move it over here. Since it's going to be kind of part of my answer, I'm going to change the color back to green. Properties, line style green. Okay, now, if you're going to use your calculator to give an approximate answer, you should show it with approximately equal to. Okay, the first part is exact. It's like radical 2. That's an exact answer. 1.4 is an approximation for radical 2. Okay, so we need our calculator. Pull out my calculator. Hopefully, there we go. Now, remember, we work with both radians and degrees a lot, so you've got to make sure your calculator is in the proper mode. So I'm going to do that first. Go to mode. Because on these problems, it won't always be obvious that you're in the wrong mode. But if you do check your answers, make a mistake, that would be the first thing I would check. Okay, so third line down, I just use the arrow keys to move down there, hit enter. Now I'm in degree mode. Quit out of this. Okay, now this is all multiplication and division, so I don't really need extra parentheses. 9 times sine 38, again we changed it to degree mode. You do need to close that parentheses. If you don't close that parentheses, then it's going to divide 38 by what you type in next, which is sine 96 degrees. Now technically, if you don't put a parentheses here, calculator will assume it, but you know what they say about assuming. So let's go ahead and close it, hit enter, and we get an answer. And this is, put it up here. You might be saying, oh wait, I can't see what's behind it. That's okay. I'm going to set picture transparency. Tap over here, say okay, now I can. Okay, so we get about 5.5, oops, 5.6, rounding to the nearest tenth. My instructions, the book will probably be different, but my instructions will typically be round sides to the nearest tenth and round angles to the nearest degree. Okay, it just makes the arithmetic a little bit easier. Okay, and doesn't change the values that much. Okay, so we found side A to be about 5.6. Now we need to do the same thing for side B. And there's a trick to this. Some people might be saying, oh, that's easy, we can just jump to it. But obviously it's going to be B over sine of 46. Because 46 degrees is the angle opposite side B. because that was what was given. Now, technically, I have two choices for my other ratio because now I know A and I know angle A. So I could use this part. Okay. However, side A is an approximation. Therefore, my answer for B will be a further off approximation. So I'd rather use the exact value. Angle C came out exact. Side C was given exact. So I am going to use the given once again. Okay, so when I use the law of sines in this case, my second ratio is always the same as the first, because the only way I could have made a mistake finding those two values is copying down the problem incorrectly, which if you do that, you have more problems than you realize. Same step as before. B equals 9 times sine 46 divided by sine of 96. Okay, and again, both of those are in degrees. I'm going to cheat. If you have a smartboard at home, feel free to do this. I'm going to clone that bad boy, slide it over, oops, slide it over, change it back to green. Oop. Looks like I wrote it again perfectly. And again, showing me this answer shows me how you got it. So if you get this second part wrong, I can immediately deduce you probably had it in the wrong mode, or you didn't have parentheses or something. It's easier to find your mistake. Okay, also if you don't have your calculator with you, go ahead and just leave it in trig form, and then you can check it when you have your calculator with you. Okay, so I need to pull up my calculator again. I'm going to clear out the previous one. And B equals now, oh wait, let's show you this trick while I'm here. I probably showed you this in class already, but if you want to call up the previous expression, which was this A one, okay, you can hit second, enter. Okay, now, really it's exact same expression, except for instead of 38, I have 46. So I'm going to go back and just type over 38 with 46. Hit enter, and voila, there's my new one. Cover up that. Okay, so again, my rule is sides round to the nearest tenth. So that would be 6.5. Very symmetric answers, 5.6, 6.5. Okay, so if you write messy, I'd prefer you put it in a little box on the side. Okay, if you're neat, you could possibly draw the triangle and label the parts right there. It's even nicer when you have different colors because then they stand out.